Welcome back to Que Pasa Nashville. My name is Cristina Allen, and thank you for joining us again. We're having a great conversation with Lisa Sherman-Nicholas, who's the policy director for TIRRC, the Tennessee Immigrant Right and Refugee Coalition. And we were talking about statewide bills. We're talking about TIRRC's mission to help our immigrant community. What are some of the initiatives TIRRC does on the local level?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you asked, because this year we have a really exciting plan for the city of Nashville. As you know, we have elections coming up on August 1st, and TIRRC really believes that in this moment where immigrant and refugee rights are sort of central to the national conversation, we've got the federal government trying to keep people out and kick people out. It's really in the cities where we feel this most deeply. And so we really believe that Nashville can take positive steps to protect our immigrant residents and to create opportunities for them to fully integrate and to be able to contribute to their communities.
But they are contributing. Is that also the challenge, that you have to not only, you have to prove that they're contributing, and you're helping them not only with entrepreneurship, but more importantly, voting?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, we just released a policy blueprint, which is sort of the steps that Nashville Metro government can take over the next 4 years to create more opportunities, to invest deeply in immigrant-owned businesses, to ensure that our local jail is not cooperating with ICE and deporting our residents, to establishing a legal defense fund that would allow people to be able to fight their deportations. And so really we see this as Nashville's moment. When we look back at this moment in history, we want to say that we stood up for our immigrant residents, and now is the time to do that.
So what are some of the initiatives that are in the blueprint?
Yeah, so the first one is we want our Davidson County Jail to end the contract that allows them to rent bed space to ICE. This facilitates deportations and family separations right here in Nashville. So while a lot of us were outraged by the family separations at the border, this is going on right here in our community, and it's because of this contract that the Davidson County Jail has with ICE.
And that's really Sheriff Hall, is that correct?
That's correct, but Metro Council has some oversight over the kinds of contracts that we have, and so we're calling on Metro Council to make sure that this contract, to revisit this contract.
Are they responding?
And renegotiate. Well, you know, it is an election year, and so we actually just trained more than 40 candidates who are running for Metro Council about our policy platform, about this contract and other ways that the Nashville government is entangled with ICE. We were really encouraged to see how many candidates came out to learn about these initiatives.
Recently, let's talk about TIRRC Votes, which is an initiative within the TIRRC. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so TIRRC Votes is our sister organization. So switching hats, I'll be speaking for TIRRC Votes now.
Which is a separate...
it is a separate entity. It is affiliated with TIRRC, but it has a different tax status and everything. And as TIRRC Votes, we're able to be more politically engaged. So as TIRRC Votes, we'll be involved in the elections coming up. We'll be endorsing candidates, letting people know who are the candidates who are pro-immigrant champions, and knocking on doors and getting out the immigrant vote.
So I recently attended the TIRRC Votes Mayoral and Council at Large Forum, and it was held at Plaza Mariachi, and over 700, 800 people were there.
Right.
I mean, that was beautiful. And I think the candidates that we're not used to seeing that really saw the impact our immigrants are making by standing up and asking the questions, articulate, global. You know, a lot of them live in South Nashville. It was a testament of the involvement of having a platform for them to participate in with TIRRC Votes and the Mayoral Forum. So congratulations on that. But it takes a lot of work, and you have a lot of young global immigrants that are working for you guys.
Yeah, so we were really proud to co-sponsor the forum. It was actually TIRRC who put on the forum, but TIRRC Votes was a co-sponsor of the forum. And really, it was such a powerful night to have more than 700 community members there. It was incredibly diverse. So it was a great testament to how engaged the immigrant community in this local election. And so we want candidates, as TIRRC Votes, we want candidates to know and to be aware that the immigrant community is going to be turning out to vote.
How do we tell them that? I mean, I know there's registering them to vote, and then there's getting them out to vote.
Yeah.
Are they more passionate for this issue than the average American who doesn't show up to vote?
So last year, TIRRC Votes was launched its first year, and we were able to really dramatically increase the immigrant vote turnout. So this is people who are eligible to vote, naturalized citizens, but we also consider second generation immigrants, so U.S. born citizen of immigrant parents.
And how many of them are turning 18? I mean, that's a huge number in our
huge
community.
Growing voting bloc.
I just want to emphasize again, 30% of metro school children, and we have, I believe, 88,000 school children. 30% of them are English language learners, U.S. born, potential voters. I mean, that's just in kindergarten. We're not talking about what it is going up the high school and then graduating.
Yeah, and more than 140 languages spoken in Metro Public Schools. So it's definitely a voting bloc to be recognized and for candidates to be trying to court. And so that is what we're planning on doing, is getting out the immigrant vote, knocking on doors of immigrant voters, educating them about deadlines, when early voting starts, helping them register to vote, but then with TIRRC Votes is telling them who to vote for.
I think that's a big impact. I mean, but that's like all the, Firefighter Association, the Police Association, all of them have those organizations that help pick candidates and telling their constituents who to vote for, just like you. But this is a new constituent that's never been rallied and I think, and motivated as well, more than ever.
Yeah, and last year with TIRRC Votes, we, because the immigrant population is quite small, we actually knock on every single immigrant voter's door. So we reached 176,000 voters, and we were able to knock on more than 20,000 doors.
Amazing.
And we've actually gotten those results back, and there's been a spike in the engagement of those voters. So,
do we fear that? Do we embrace it? I mean, that's what you're looking for in a candidate, right?
Yeah, I think it definitely needs to be embraced. When we have such a diverse city like Nashville, we need to make sure that candidates are reflecting everybody who lives in Nashville.
Well, and I think we look at Metro Police, we look at Metro school teachers, we look at just any part. I mean, is their staff reflective of the community? And the community is fairly young, and a lot of them are newly arrivals, but we have a lot of assimilated second generations now since they started coming in 96, 97. So we do have second generations that are more assimilated, but these people need to be part of the overall, I guess, profile of what Nashville is in terms of positions within the company. And that's what we have to look at as well, but voting is a step for them to see that. Tell me about what your thoughts are on the census question that's been around to see if ask a question in the U.S. Census, which is coming up in 2020, is, are a U.S. citizen? What does TIRRC stand on that?
Unfortunately, just the efforts of the federal government to include that question has created a huge chilling effect on the community.
Make sure I got that right. So they're trying to add a question to see, which has never been done. They've never asked your citizenship or your status.
They want to ask people whether they're a U.S. citizen or not.
Okay.
And so there's already a huge challenge in getting undocumented or mixed status households to participate in those kinds of surveys and questions.
To make sure that we need to count them.
Exactly. It matters for all of Nashville, for our whole state, that every single individual is counted. But when they fear that question and what it might reveal about their status or how it might lead to their deportation.
Because you're putting your address, you're putting how many children, and if you put your status, that might refrain from people participating in the census. That's the argument.
So we'll be working real hard to make sure that people understand the census. We're waiting for the Supreme Court to make a final decision any day now about that question. But regardless, we know that it's important for communities to participate and that there's privacy protections for the census. So we'll be working to make sure our communities participate in the census as much as possible.
And I think that's going to, again, blow away how many our immigrants are here. I talk about my mother a lot. My mother's born, raised, and educated in Mexico, and she married my American father, and she has a green card. She's never become a U.S. citizen, never thought about it until I asked her, well, who'd you vote for? And I mean, I was a young adult, but I just assumed, because we always worked on campaigns, we were always active with my dad, and she still has a green card, and she's just thinking about getting becoming a U.S. citizen, which she has all the requirements. And so there's a lot of people just been quiet that have lived here that have their green cards. Do you see them finally be motivated to continue to get their U.S. citizenship?
Yeah, we've definitely seen a motivation, and we're working with the mayor's office and others to encourage folks who are eligible to become citizens, because we recognize the importance, especially when it comes to things like voting and the protections that citizenship affords to those individuals. So there's about 14,000 green card holders in Nashville who are eligible to become citizens.
Wow, I had no idea. I also read some statistics on the mayor's office of new Americans of the green card, and then of course those being, like I said, the 14,000, and then regionally, statewide, it continues to grow because they have been here a while, they're eligible. And what makes you eligible? Being here over 5 years? I mean,
yeah, you need to be here for at least 5 years. There's other criteria, I think, like language competency and taking an exam, and you know, your criminal record and things like that.
So all of that plays a role, and especially if you've been here more than 5 years and already have a green card, that status. So what is going to be the future of TIRRC right now as we continue to grow?
You know, TIRRC is growing really fast. We're adding new staff. We're going to be involved in the census, and so we're going to continue to be able to fight for our communities, but also we're really excited about the Nashville elections and being able to help candidates really understand why it's important that we move beyond welcoming and really create policies that help everybody succeed.
Well, thank you for everything you're doing, Lisa. You've been part of this community. You're so knowledgeable of everything that's going on, and you represent who we are as a city, and thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining Que Pasa Nashville. We talk about the opportunities and challenges of Middle Tennessee, of our Latinos, and our global community. Join us each week as we just profile and talk a little deeper. So we'll see you next week on Que Pasa Nashville. Muchas gracias.